Hello students, welcome to this session. I've just solved this NEET test 104 and this is the physics analysis right before 12 o'clock today. So in this paper I find none of the question I get to be said to be tough. 17 were medium, 28 were easy, so the paper I think is an easy one. This question number 14 had too much calculation, too close options, and these two questions from optics I found both answers to be wrong and the other options I am getting as correct. In 41 the given option I can make it out, it would be the answer, but for, according to me the answer is not available in all the four options. You can see when you come to the goes to that questions. So all in all I think it's a easy one for you, 28, and let's say if I did take 7 only, 35 question, that means it's a paper where you should get 140 if you are good enough in physics, and those who are very good should get 170 plus in this paper to score, leaving about these 2-3 dubious ones. Otherwise the questions are pretty straightforward. So let's begin. When an electron and hydrogen atom revolves in a stationary orbit, so stationary means energy won't be lost, so it doesn't radiate light through it though its velocity is changing. Doesn't radiate light, velocity remains unchanged. This is wrong because velocity is changing. Radiate light, wrong. Radiate light with change of energy, wrong, so only option A is correct. Energy remains constant, it doesn't emit any electromagnetic waves, and the velocity is changing though speed is same. When the momentum of photon is changed by an amount p dash, the corresponding change in de Broglie wavelength is 0.2%. Find the original momentum. So you know lambda is equal to h by p. So this 0.2% is a small change. So for a small change I can say delta lambda by lambda would be minus delta p by p. Here we are only checking the magnitude. So just this is 0.2%, that is 0.2 by 100 is delta p is p dash by p. So the p original will you can write as 100 p dash upon 0.2, which comes out as 500 p dash. So go for option B here. Next. Two blocks of M1 M2 are connected by a massless spring and placed at smooth surface. The spring initially stretched and released. Release means initially the both are at rest, that means VCM is 0, and because it is a spring, no external force is acting, it will remain 0, so the CM will stay at rest. That means the net momentum is always going to be 0. That means the momentum of both two will be always equal and opposite. So let's check. Momentum of each particle remains constant. No. System's momentum remains constant 0, not each one. Magnitude of momentum of both bodies are same to each other. Yes, because their momentum will always be equal and opposite, so magnitude will be same. Mechanical energy of the system remains constant. Smooth and no external force, and only spring is a conservative one, so that is also true. Okay, D option we got. Okay, so not B and C, we will tick both B and C. Energy and momentum both are conserved here. Next one. Particle of mass m is moving with speed 2v and collides with a mass 2m moving with speed v in the same direction. After the collision, the first is stopped completely, while the second one splits into two each of m, which goes at an angle 45 with respect to the original direction the speed of each of the moving particle will be. So the situation would be something like this. Let's say both are moving along x-axis. So the first one was m going with velocity 2v and this 2m going with velocity v. So the initial momentum is you can say only along x-axis, and that would be this would be 2mv of the first one, 2mv of the second one, I cap I can write, so it is 4mv I cap. So y is 0, only x momentum is there. Now after collision, first one comes to rest and the second one splits into two and they goes at 45 degree. So it's clear their momentum along y must be equal and opposite, because net momentum in y will be 0. So both will have the same velocity. Let's say v final I can write. So this is 45 degrees, y component will cancel up. So what we can say, p final x, that would be mv final cos 45, that is 1 by root 2, that is also mv final 1 by root 2. So what we have this if you solve it will become root 2 mvf, and just by equating momentum in x, so what I can say, 4 mv is equal to root 2 mv final. So v final here come as 4 by root 2, that is 2 root 2 v. Go for option C here. Next one. If AR and AT represents radial and uniform and tangential accelerations, the motion of particle will be uniformly circular. Uniformly circular means alpha 0, or you can call AT is 0. So but AR will be there because circular motion can't happen in that case. So option C is the only one you can go for. Next one. Soft iron is preferred as the core of transformer in the form of sheets. Soft iron is used because we know it has a low losses, low retentivity, low coercivity. So going for it, it will be option A. It has low retentivity, low coercivity and low hysteresis losses. That's why soft materials are used here. Okay, so this is again a standard one, easy one for you. Next, in a hydrogen discharge tube, it is observed that through a given cross section, this much electrons move towards right to left, protons move from left to right. So both are going opposite, that means their current will add up. So current will be as per the proton direction, that is left to right, that is towards right. So I am left with two options. Now check the magnitude. I would be I due to electrons plus I due to protons. Electron would be Ne into E plus Np into E, Ne Np, their respective number per second. So it is 3.13 plus 3.12 I can take into 10 to the power 15 into E is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. So what we are left with, it is 3 and 2 5, let me write it, 3 and 2 are 5, 1 and 1 2, 6.25 into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 4. So 16 5s are 80, 16 2s are 32 and 8 40, 16 6 are 96 and 400. So it is 10.00 into 10 to the power minus 4 you can write, that is 1.0 into 10 to the power minus 3 you can write, or 1 milliampere, and it is towards right, sorry, not towards left, it is towards right. So go for option C here. Next one, a conductor with rectangular cross section has dimensions A cross 2A cross 4A as shown in figure. Resistance across AB is X, across CD is Y, across EF is Z. Okay, so what we will have, so first of all, this length is maximum and this area is minimum. So across these two ends it would be maximum. So across AB, that means X is maximum. Similarly, which one is A? Which one is A? I think this one is A. So between this topmost and the bottommost, it is going to be least. So topmost, bottommost is CD, that is going to be minimum. So what we have, X would be greater than Z, would be greater than Y. Now check the options. So it is D1 that you can do. It's again a very common question you encounter. Frequency of oscillation of current in the inductor will be. So what we have, this is an LC network, these two are in parallel, that is 3C, these are in series, that would be 3L. There the series formula is L1 plus L2, here the parallel is C1 plus C2. So the frequency omega naught would be 1 upon root LC. 1 upon root LC means 3L into 3C. So that is 1 upon 3 root LC. So frequency is omega naught by 2 pi. So it comes out as 1 upon 6 pi and it would be root LC I can go for. So 1 upon 6 pi root LC, which is option B. Next one. Two circular coils can be arranged in any of the three following situations. Their mutual inductance will be here. There is no coupling, so it would be 0. So it is minimum in definitely in B, where you can say here C also, not the flux is coupled. Here the flux is completely coupled, so A is definitely going to be maximum. Here they are perfectly coupled, so go for option A. A, that is option B actually. Next, you have a capacitor of 8 picofarads connected as shown in the figure. Charge on the plates of the capacitor will be, that definitely means in the steady state I can guess. So in steady state no current flows through that branch, so only this branch is effective. So we have the series of 4 and 1. So the potential drop across this 4 ohm, that would be the drop across the delta V across 8 farad would be equal to delta V across 4 ohm, and that would be equal to 4 upon 4 plus 1 into total 5. So that comes out as 4 volt. So therefore charge would be CV. CV would be 32 coulombs. So go for option A. This is the answer that is you are going to take care. 4 into 10 to the power 10 electrons are removed from a neutral plate. Electrons are removed, so it will have a positive charge of diameter 20 centimeter placed in air. The magnitude of the electric field at a distance of 20 centimeter from its center is okay. So from a sphere it is removed. So what we have, first of all, Q would be equal to 4 into 10 to the power 10 into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. That is 6.4 nanocoulombs you can write. Okay. Electric field at a distance of 20 centimeter from the center. So its radius is 10. This would be like this point. So it's an outside point. So electric field we can say that is due to a point charge. You can write KQ by R square. So 9 in 10 ki power 9 into 6.4 into 10 to the power minus 9. R square 20 square 0.2 square, that is 0.04. So I can do is that 9 into 6.4 into 100 by 4 I can do. So it is 25. So 25 into 9, that is 225 into 6.4. So 225 4s if I do, that would be 900. 225 6 if I do, it would be 900 plus 450, that is 1350 plus 90, that is 1440. So it would be 1440. Okay, so 1440.0, that is 1440, that you can go for option D here. So not a tough one, just calculate. If g be the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the earth, its value at a height equal to double the radius of the earth would be. So at a height you will say g would be, or g at that height would be gm upon r plus h whole square, you know. So that would be gm upon h is 2r, that would be 3r whole square, that is you can say gm upon 9r square, and this is the value at surface, so that would be g by 9. So go for option D here, it would be g by 9. Next, mass of the moon is this and the radius is this, the value of the gravitational acceleration, again g would be gm by r square, that is the formula you utilized. So that g is, you know, 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11, m is 7.34 into 10 to the power 22 upon r square, 1.74 into 1.74 into 10 to the power 12. So if you do that power, this is minus 23, 23 10 to the power minus 1. So you can write it as 6.67 into 0.734 upon 1.74 into 1.74, that is what you are getting. So if you do this, it's approximately 1.73 is 3, so it is approximately 3, so it would be 2.2 into 0.7, 22 into 7, that would be, you can go for 154 something or 1.54 something. So okay, options are too close, so you have to do the calculation more thoroughly. So 6.67 I can write as 20 by 3, that is a simplification I can do, and then I can write it as 0.734, 1.74 into 1.74, it is now, it's a dicey one, it's too much to calculate, and if I do that approximation, options are too close, that should not be given. So what to do, you have to do. So let me try one of the tricks I can do from here. So 1.74, let me try it with this would be points. So 7.34 would be, let's say 4 times, so it would be 0.468 or something. Again, it's going to be too tough, so I'm giving up. I'm using a calculator, not in the mood right now in the night to do this calculation. You should do, but sorry, I am not doing it. I should have done, but I'm not in mood, so I have the luxury, I can do like this. You cannot do this in your examination. So if I do this, it's come out as 1.617, so 1.62 would be the answer. And typically you remember that 1.6 meter per second square is what you write for acceleration due to gravity at the moon, but since options are closed, you can't risk it and you have to solve it. I think the options are too brutal for a NEET aspirant. A long silver teaspoon is placed in a cup filled with hot tea. After some time, the exposed end of the spoon becomes hot even without direct contact, because it is a very good conductor. So its conduction, you know that silver is one of the best conductors. A system goes from A to B via two processes 1 and 2. The change is delta U and delta U2. That doesn't matter because you know it is a state function. The delta U will be same. That's a most easiest one you can have from thermodynamics. In a cyclic process, work done by the system is equal to the heat given, more than independent of heat given. You say it is equal to the net heat. W net is equal to Q net because delta U is 0. Again, it's an easy one for you. Next, electron, proton, neutron, alpha particle, each having the same speed, are in a region of constant magnetic field normal to the direction of velocities. Radius of the circular path is this. Okay. So now they each have what we have, region of constant, the radius, it follows that each having the same speed. So radius you know is mv by qb. So v and b are same, so radius is proportional to m by q. So radius will be same for those, m by q is same. It cannot be for electron, proton, so this cannot be the answer. Proton and neutron, not possible. Now alpha particle, alpha you know has a mass 4 times the protonic mass, charge twice the electronic charge, so its factor is 2. For neutron also, mass is 2m and charge is e, so neutron and alpha will match. So neutron and alpha, that means RDR alpha, so you will have option C here, that would be right. Next, proton is projected with uniform velocity v along the axis of a current carrying solenoid. You know, along the axis of current carrying solenoid, B is there, B is along x-axis, along the axis, V is along the axis, so V is parallel to B, so V is parallel to B, so magnetic force will be 0, so it will go undeviated, so it will continue to move with velocity V along the axis. That's another easy one. Men took twice as long to row a distance against the stream as to row the same distance in favor of the stream. The ratio of the speed of the boat and the stream is. Now, so when it goes in favor of the stream, we can say the time taken would be, or you can say that if the distance is d, the distance can be written as speed VBR plus VR into time t. Now when going against d would be, this speed becomes VBR minus VR and the time we taken is twice of t. So just equate them. VBR minus VR into 2t would be equal to VBR plus VR into t. So what you have, you can cancel up and what you have, 2VBR minus 2VR is equal to VBR plus VR. So what you need the ratio. So what you have, VBR here would be equal to 3VR. So VBR upon VR comes out as 3:1. Go for option B in this case. Next, man standing on the roof of a house at height throws one ball vertically down, another with horizontally with same speed u. Ratio of their velocity when they reach the earth's surface. Just remember, from a height, if you throw a ball like this, like this, like this, or like this, all will hit with the same speed, because till the time they reaches the ground, the decrease in potential energy is mgh, that would be equal to delta k gain, and if initial kinetic energy is same, final kinetic energy would be ki plus mgh. Ki is same, mgh is same, so the speeds of all will be same, though the velocities will differ. Ratio of velocity here means the ratio of speeds, and that would be 1:1. Next, student is unable to answer a question on Newton's laws of motion, attempts to pull himself up by tugging on his hair. He will not succeed as the force exerted is small. Friction force while gripping is small. Newton's law of inertia is not applicable as the force applied is internal to the system. It's like this. It's like you are sitting in a car, by pushing the car from inside, you cannot let it move. To let it move, you have to come outside. Similarly, if you are pulling your hair up, so the force you exert on your hair by your hand, the same force would be exerted by hair on your hand, so the net force on the system is 0, so it cannot move like this. But it's a nice question, nice language. A ball of mass 0.2 kg rests on a vertical post of height 5 meters. Bullet of 0.01 kg traveling at speed v in a horizontal direction hits the center of the ball. After the collision, both travel independently. Ball hits the ground at a distance of 20 and the bullet at a distance of 100. The velocity of the bullet is, first of all, you know, in this case, this distance traveled, or this range, or what you write, that would be equal to the initial velocity into t, and t is root 2h by g, because both have 0 speed in vertical. So this factor is same, so you can directly say the distance is proportional to the initial speed. So let's say after collision, ball speed is v1, let's say v1 be the speed of ball after collision and v2 be the speed of the bullet after the collision. So what I can directly say, v1 upon v2 would be equal to 20 upon 100 directly, that is 1/5. So that is the first thing you have. Now applying momentum conservation, what we have, 0.01 into v would be equal to 0.2 into v1 plus 0.01 into v2. So what we have, you can have this v is equal to 20 v1 plus v2, that you can write. This is the first equation I have. Now what if the other we have, we can calculate the value of this v1 v2. Let's say v1 I can calculate from here, 20 would be equal to v1 into root 2h, h is 5, that is 10 by g, that is 10 1, so v1 is 20. So put it up, 20 v1, that is 20 into 20, that comes out as 400, and what would be v2, that is 5 times that is 100, so it is 400 plus 100, go for 500. It's option D that you will be searching for. Next, nucleus is bombarded with a high speed neutron so that resulting nucleus is a radioactive one. This phenomena is called, this is basically called as a nuclear reaction, or is a radioactive one. So this phenomena is called fusion, fission, or radioactivity. Or radioactivity is not, radioactivity is used when that is occurring naturally. Now resulting nucleus is a radioactive. This phenomena is that is generally used in fission. You can call it nuclear reaction also, but this is both are nuclear reaction. It would be fission, I think, is the most appropriate out of these two. You will remember that 238U bombarded with neutron to do like this. So A and C are confusing, but C I think is more appropriate. Next one. If M0 is the mass of an oxygen isotope, MP and Mn be the masses of proton, neutron respectively, the nuclear binding energy you say is the mass loss. Mass loss, what do we have? The original mass would be 8 times protonic mass plus 9 times neutronic mass, that would be greater than the final mass MO. So that mass defect into C square, sorry not 8 square, it would be C square, that would be the binding energy. So go for the option, it is C. And I think this is a question being asked in previous year questions, I think 2 or 3 times. A spring of constant 200 Newton meter has a block of mass 1 kg hanging at its one end, and from another end spring is attached to a ceiling to an elevator. If elevator goes upwards with an acceleration g by 3, when acceleration suddenly ceases, the angular velocity and elongation during the time when the elevator is accelerating. Now the beauty of these SHM system is, and this spring block system is, we say that angular frequency is always given by root k by m, that is irrespective of that acceleration. Here g doesn't affect, therefore we say a clock based on a spring block system will work accurately even on equator, even on poles, while that based on that simple pendulum will show a slight difference on at equator and at the poles. So omega would be root k by m, k is given 200, mass is 1, so you can write it as 10 root 2, omega is 10 root 2, which is 14.14 we can go for. So we are left with only one choice, but let me check elongation. So when it was accelerating, we can say the spring force minus mg was equal to ma, which is mg by 3, so spring force was 4 mg by 3, so that x would be 4 mg by 3k you can write. So 4 into m is 1 into 10, this is 3 into 200, so what we are left with, this is goes, this goes, this goes, this is 4 by 60, 4 by 60, not 40 by 60, sorry, 4 by 60, that is 1 by 15 you can write. So 1 by 15 is 0.07 approx, you can go 0.06 something, so 0.07, so option A is the most appropriate one for you in this case. Next one, the maximum velocity of SHM, okay, so this is omega, this is A, you know V max is omega A. Just put the value of omega 100, A is 3, so this is 300 meter per second, that's an easy one for you. Next, in the ferroelectric effect, the velocity of ejected electrons depends upon the nature of the target and you know the frequency, not on the intensity, so it depends on the frequency of the incident light. Rest all options are time pass for you. An electron, a neutron and alpha particle have same kinetic energy, de Broglie wavelengths are like this. This statement is correct about their de Broglie, okay. So de Broglie wavelength for energy h upon mv you can write as root 2 mk, or energy what you can write. So in this case they have same energy, so lambda would be root of m, so heaviest one will have the least one. So heaviest is alpha, so it will have the least. So lambda of alpha would be least and electron has the least mass, so it would be the greatest, so go for option A in this case. Particular force applied to a wire increases its length by this. To increase the wire length by this, the applied force will be, so we know that is delta L, we write it as FL upon AY, that is what we typically write. So you can directly say, because L, AY are fixed, so delta L is proportional to F, so to increase the length by double amount, the force must be doubled, so go for option C here. Next, if the excess pressure inside a soap bubble is balanced by oil column of height 2 mm, the surface tension of soap bubble is, inside soap bubble excess pressure you say is 4S by R, that would be equal to rho GH. So S you are calculating, R is given as 1 centimeters and 10 to the power minus 2. Density of oil 0.8, that is 800, I can write G is 10 and height is 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. So the value of S comes out as 10 to the power 8 into 10 to the power 3 into 2 into 10 raised to the power minus 3 into 10 raised to the power minus 2 upon 4, that is what you can say. We have 16 by 4, that is 4 into 10 to the power minus 2 Newton per meter, that is will write. So look at the options carefully. Yes, the power C. So be careful, a calculation error might instead of 4 give you minus 1. A point object is placed at a distance 30 cm from a convex mirror of focal length 30 cm, the image will form. So that means it is placed at the focus using the equation 1 by v plus 1 by u equals 1 by f. So 1 by v plus 1 by u is minus 1 by 30, f for a convex mirror is positive, so 1 by v would be 1 by 30 plus 1 by 30, so v will be directly you can say is 15 centimeter and this is plus 15, that means behind the mirror, so go for option C here. it should be 15 centimeter behind the mirror. I don't know why they have given as infinity. It is not a concave mirror, it's a convex mirror, you can say. And here actually the focus, that infinity case will arrive when you have this let me draw it, when you have this thing being placed, when there is a virtual object, here is the focus of this, not this side. So their analogy is I don't know what to say, let better say it left hand side. Next, plano convex lens is silvered at a plane surface, new focus will be. Okay, plano convex lens is silvered at plane surface, it would be like this. So first of all, the focal length of the lens, first of all, if I have to calculate it, what was okay, given was 20 centimeter, now it is silvered, so it would be a mirror, and equivalent mirror focal length would be 1 upon fm minus 2 upon f of lens. So mirror is infinity, so 1 by f is 0 minus 2 by fl, fl is 20, so this fm equivalent will come out as minus 10 centimeter. So new f will be 10 centimeter for you, this would be 10 centimeter you can go for. So again the answer is not matching for me, it will act like a lens, it's a mirror now, not a lens, and equivalent focal length is 10 centimeter. I don't know what they have done, they have only taken a refraction from one surface, that's, I don't agree to them. So both the optics question made by some oxymoron or whatever you call him, I don't know, I don't agree with both the answers. A mass m is moving with constant velocity along a line parallel to x-axis away from origin, its angular momentum with respect to the origin. So whenever someone goes at constant velocity along a straight line, the angular momentum always remains constant. We have covered it many times. Here you say also it goes like this. So velocity line of action is always this. So this perpendicular distance will always remain the same. So L will always remain MVR perpendicular, and that R cross V will always be the same in the same sense. So it is remaining constant. Next one. Homogeneous solid cylindrical roller, radius r, mass m, pulled up on a cricket pitch by a horizontal force, assuming rolling without slipping, angular acceleration of the cylinder is. Okay, so what we have, the homogeneous solid cylinder and pulled on a cricket pitch by a horizontal force. So it is pulled up by an horizontal force, so again nothing is given, so I am assuming it is pulled like this. So this F force pulled and it is doing pure rolling, so there must be some friction acting and definitely backwards. So what I can write, this F minus F would be equal to M into A, and F is the only torque producing, so F into R would be I alpha is mr square by 2 into alpha, and for rolling it would be A by R, so F is ma by 2. So add these two, you will get F is equal to 3ma by 2, so acceleration would be 2F by 3m. So that angular acceleration A by R would be 2F upon 3mr. So go for option what do we have? Okay, 2F upon 3mr, not B, it would be C1. Okay, next one. The reverse voltage at which the current increases enormously is known as the breakdown voltage. You know, nothing to explain in this. If ABCD inputs are to a gate and X is the output, okay, so 4 inputs, and as per the following time graph the gate is, so the gate is, it is 0 for all 0, when 1 is 1 and there are 0 it is 1, for 0 1 0 0 it is again 1, for 1 1 0 0 it is 1, for 0 0 1 0 it is 1. That means it basically a OR gate. If anyone is 1, it is always getting 1, so you can directly go for OR gate, no need to write that much. Next one. When 10 gram of ice at minus 20 is mixed with 10 gram of water at 50, the amount of ice melted is. So first of all, let me check. This is 10 gram ice at minus 20. Let it pull it towards 0 degree. So if I get it at 0 degree and let it be ice only. So this is to 20 to 0, it will require 10 into 0.5, that is a specific heat of ice that should be given in the question, but they have assumed that you know, into 20, so that is basically 100 calories. And if I see 10 gram of water at 50 degrees Celsius, if it comes at 0 degrees Celsius and remains as water, it will release heat as 10 into 1 into 50, that is 500 calories. So out of 500, 100 are taken up, now 400 remains. For 10 gram you require 800 calories, but for 400 we can only have half of it making the journey, so 5 into 80 would be 400 calories, so 5 gram will melt. So the amount of ice melt will be 5 gram, remaining will also be 5 gram. Go for option D here. And just remember, at this point both comes to 0. Once they come to the same temperature, no further heat transfer takes place, because for heat to flow temperature has to be different. In the density measurement of a cube, the mass is measured like this. This is measured like this. The error in the measurement of the density is mass upon a cube. So the error in density would be delta m by m plus thrice of delta a by a. So what is delta m by m? 0.1 upon 10, and this would be 3 into, and delta a by a, delta a is what? 0.01 upon 0.10. Okay. So what you have, this is 0.1 by 10, and this comes out as 0.03 upon 0.1. So it is 0.01 plus what I can say 30. So this is 0.31. I can go for option A. That is the answer here. Go for option A here. Next. On decreasing the wavelength of the incident light from 8000 to 4000, the intensity of the scattered line in Rayleigh's scattering will become, you know, that is 1 upon lambda to the power 4. So 1 by 2 to the power 4. So inverse 2 to the power 4 would be 16 times. You can directly go by that. Next one. In YDSE, if the distance between the two slits is equal to the wavelength of the light, okay, then the maximum number of bright ranges obtained is, we know the part difference possible is d sine theta, and we equate it to be n lambda. Here d is equal to lambda, so n max we can go for is d by lambda. So here coming out as 1, that is when sine theta is equal to 90 degree, and that means theta is equal to 90 degree, sorry, and theoretically speaking theta equal to 90 degree, we won't get a point on screen, so this will also be not attainable. I should write it like this. So it should be less than 1, so only 1 you will see. So the number of bright fringes obtained on the screen ideally will be 1. I don't know how they are given as 3. Ideally it should be 1, but out of the option I'll go for 3. Ideally it should be 1, because 90 degree, what it means? 90 degree means this goes like this. So you cannot have them meeting there somewhere on the screen. So that's not possible. So it should be the 1, but go for 3. No option. When the source of sound move towards a stationary observer, okay, sound source is moving, the wavelength of the sound received by him. Now it's a very nice question. So just remember, when the source of sound moves towards a stationary observer, let's say this is the source, it is moving towards this observer. So because of this motion, when the waves go, the speed of the waves in the medium still remains the same. So V is same, and you definitely know the frequency here will be more. So we know V is equal to f lambda. V is remaining the same, speed of wave is still same, frequency has increased, therefore lambda will decrease. So it decreases while the frequency increases. Go for option A. And remember, if the observer goes towards it, so with respect to observer the wave speed will increasing. Here with respect to the observer the wave speed is still the same. So there the speed of the wave effective to observer increases when the observer moves. Next one. So it's a nice question based on your fundamentals. Transverse wave propagating along the x-axis is represented by this. X in meter, t in second. The speed of the wave is omega by k. This is omega, 4 pi, k is 0.5 pi. So it comes out as 8. Directly go for option A. Basic check of your concept. Next, last two now. Particle goes from this point to this under this force. How much work is done? So first of all, displacement, r final minus r initial. There is nothing in I, so it would be 2i. 4j minus 5j, it is minus j plus 3k cap. So work done, you know, constant force F dot S. So 4 into 2 plus 3 into minus 1, that is 8 minus 3, that is 5 joule. Go for option. What had happened? Okay, something has gone wrong. Okay, let me check where I am. Okay, somehow this got agitated. Okay, this is also now fed up after solving so much paper. It wants some rest. So it would be 5 joule. Let me get the pencil back. Yes, so it would be 5 joule. Yes. Next, the last one. Hopefully it's stable, it remains stable. What is falling from a height of 100 meter at a rate of 100 kg per second? The power delivered to the turbine. So power would be dm by dt into gh. That is what you can write. So that is 100 kg per second, g is 10, and that is 100. So this is 10 to the power 5 watt, or you can say 100 kilowatt. Go for option A. So that is for today. Thanks for watching.